Hello, everyone. My name is Alex. Thanks for joining us on Tuesday. I'm with the Sewing Workshop, and Linda is with me in the studio. And I'm closing my eyes, thinking really hard about spring, which is today's theme, because right out my window, I have about 12 inches of snow, as I'm sure many of you across the country are experiencing snow and cold. So, hope you all are staying safe and warm and as cozy as you can be. But we're stretching it a little bit. We're asking you to push past beyond the cold you might be experiencing and look forward to the next season. So I'm in my favorite linen top, the San Diego Tunic, and Linda's going to show us some patterns and fabrics that have to do with spring. So we're going to get you out of this current cold mentality and inspire you for the next season. So it was kind of funny. Yesterday, I was browsing some fashion websites and looking up trends for not necessarily spring, but more kind of cruise wear. The fashion shows of the season have already presented for cruise in 2026. So, I was looking at like Harper's Bazaar and Vogue and uh, Women's Wear Daily, different sites that I like to kind of see what designers are, of course, making this season. And it was kind of funny. I was looking, and one big trend for spring 2026 is big, wide pants with small fitted tops, not necessarily cropped, but just fitted tops with big pants. So we kind of were like, well, maybe we can go that direction and we can show some of our like big flowy pants with smaller, more just smaller tops. And then I looked at the next website and it was like tight pants, tight pants, tight pants, skinny pants, leggings with oversized, flowy, asymmetrical hemline tops. So we decided you can really go either way. The spectrum is wide, but we've got some collections for you guys to take a look at. So I don't know, anything goes in fashion. Isn't that right, Linda?
It is right, and it's so different. And the point of what you just said is you want to have opposing silhouettes, whether it's top or bottom, but you don't want to have oversized top and bottom. Or I suppose you could have tight top and bottom, but not me. But anyway, that's interesting, Alex. But I think you're right. Anything goes. I'm wearing things that I've worn for 20 years, maybe longer actually, when I really think about it. And I feel completely up to date, and it looks like me. So there you go. Anything goes.
I do feel like right now there is a big trend. Like you can wear oversized tops with oversized pants,
Okay.
even though traditionally those silhouettes might kind of cancel each other out. But, you are seeing like baggier jeans, you're seeing baggier tops and just oversized jackets with all these things. So I heard some celebrity say, she refuses to actually do the contrasting silhouettes and just puts big with big because otherwise she said she looks like a lamp. So
Well, that may be true, but depends on who it is. But most of those models that you see are about 6 feet tall and about 105 pounds. So, they look good in most anything. Kind of like Erin looks good in everything because she's got shoulders. Shoulders are so important. So, shoulder pads are back. Unfortunately, we've lost our source for Japanese shoulder pads, but so we're not carrying shoulder pads at the moment, but we're still looking. So, shoulder pads are back. Get those shoulders up. Sit tall.
well, I'm wearing a favorite top and you're wearing a favorite jacket.
I am. I am. I was just saying before we came on the air that this is the Sterling jacket. And I know you hear me say this all the time that this is my favorite, whatever, but this is my favorite jacket. And I like the way it sits on my body. I like the length because I can wear it with full or not so full. I can wear it buttoned up like a shirt. I can wear it as a jacket. I can put a sweater under it. I don't know. I really like this jacket. So, yep. When did you make your San Diego tunic that you have on? A couple years ago, maybe?
Um, I think it was more around the time when we re-released the pattern, which I think, because there's this whole trend right now of looking back to 2016. I think we re-released it in 2016 because they're on my phone. In my photos, there was a ton of pictures of the San Diego, Aaron wearing the San Diego, modeling the San Diego. So I think it was, it could have been, this could be a decade old.
Yeah. It's funny how I don't remember years very well. And I, like a lot of people can say, when I back in January in 1989, I did such and such or sewed such and such. I'm not like that. For me now, it's, let's see, was that before COVID or after? That was kind of my marker of time. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, take it away, Linda.
All right. Well, first, let me talk about my stash. I was thinking about that this morning, that if I'm going to say give away, but you know what I mean, present 2 fabrics every week for 52 weeks, that's 104 pieces. Sounds like a lot of fabric, doesn't it? I haven't even made a dent in it. So apparently I can go for longer than a year on this. So today I have 3 pieces, mostly because I have a piece that was sitting on the counter up here because I was going to show it last week and I forgot about it. So today, this is only 1 yard, but it is exceedingly wide. It's wider than 60 inches. And this is a piece of pale pink knit, but it has a fantastic fleece on the back. And it's only 1 yard, but boy, with the width that it is, you could get a Bristol, a swing tee, long sleeved, a sort of sweatshirt style garment out of it, or you could piece it with some other fleece or whatever. So 1 yard piece, I don't know how wide, I should have measured it, like 66, something like that, $10. Then if Kathy Davis is on the call, she's going to cry over this one. We kind of share the stash in the vault. Whenever I bring something up, she'll say, "Oh, that's yours. Oh, I've always wanted that." And I'll say, "No, it's yours." "No, I think it's yours." We have no clue who bought it and why and all that. But this is a piece that I know that she would love. It is a interlock knit, double knit, but it's very soft and very drapey. And it's this wide stripe. Again, wide, 60 inches wide. I believe it's wool. I don't remember exactly, but it feels like it. It could be rayon or it could be a mixture, but I'm not really sure. So it's 1 3/4 yards of 60 inch and $40 for this. And then I have a vintage Cape Facet fabric. It's not available anymore. So it's cotton. Looks a little wider than 24, but I doubt that it is. 48 inches wide. Cape Facet vintage. There, with the trees, so they're growing up. Beautiful colors. Of course, I love these colors. And this is a big piece. This is 3.5 yards. So I don't know why I bought it, but I think I had quilting in mind at the time. Why I bought 3.5, I can't really tell you, but it would make any garment, that's for sure. And of course, it could be incorporated as a piece of something. I'll show you a pieced garment here in a minute. Or it could be incorporated into a quilt. So anyway, it's 3.5 yards, $28. So you can see on the screen that if you want one of these pieces, email me, and the first person whose email I get gets the piece. Okay. So I do have on the sterling, and I wore it specifically because I think it is a transitional piece. I have, I think, 3 in my closet at home. This one is cotton, although when I put it on today, it was plenty warm over this little silk sweater that I have. By the way, we are having a heat wave here, Alex. It was 17, got up to 17 from 0. So we're on the move. I think it's going to get in the 20s today. I had a friend, a customer from Florida who I talked to yesterday on the phone, and she just more than once wrote and said to me, I don't see how you guys can work in that temperature. Well, of course, it isn't that temperature on the inside. It is cold, no question. I guess we're just used to it here in Kansas. I like all the 4 seasons. Get used to it. And Alex moved to Cleveland, which is a similar climate, basically. But I've never known Cleveland in all the years you've lived there to get so much snow. Usually the lake effect, the Erie Lake, the snow kind of goes over Cleveland and lands south of Cleveland. Am I right about that, Alex?
Not exactly. We are. I'm kind of right in the what they call lake effect snow. I'm on the west side of Cleveland. I think the east side of Cleveland tends to get more, but I am right by the lake. So my winter I remember the most is the first winter I lived here in like 2013, and it was horrible. It was like the worst. Just icy cold, ice storms, lots of different things going on. And it's not been maybe that bad this year, but just, yeah, a lot of snow.
Yeah. Well, I know that the rest of the country or some parts of the country have really gotten blasted with snow. So, I mean, like 20 inches, 17 inches, 0 temperature. The nice thing about the snow here was it was very light and kind of wispy. And so we didn't have trees coming down, which was great. So, but I know some parts like Tennessee really got hit hard. Okay. So anyway, the Sterling jacket is a transitional piece. And even though we're going to be talking about kind of another season today, I do think that there are times year round in all climates where you need a jacket or want a jacket. Maybe not outside, but even inside. If you're someplace where it's pretty warm and you go inside and maybe the air conditioning is just a little bit too much, you want a jacket. So this Sterling jacket is one of my favorites. I like the silhouette of it. I like the fact that it comes in a little bit. So I kind of pretend like I have a waist, which I don't. I said this was out of cotton. I have one out of wool that's underlined actually, and another one in a tone-on-tone matelassé. But here's the jacket. What I like about this jacket is the construction of it. Now, you don't have to do this. We have instructions for pretty traditional sewing, turned hems and so forth. But for So Confident a couple of years ago, I changed the finishing to a roll hem on a serger. And I'd never done that before for a total garment. So every edge is roll hemmed. The bottom of the sleeves. I was studying this morning the one that I have on, and even though I talk about a rolled hem, this is actually just a super, super narrow 3-thread serge. This is more of a rolled hem. So, depending on the brand of sewing machine that you have to go to your own guidebook, instruction book, and look up how to do these various, what you press and what you dial and how you get to these particular kinds of finishes. But we have a tutorial, which I think has been maybe put in the chat. I don't know. Betsy found it this morning, that shows you how to convert all of the edges from traditional seaming to the rolled hem or the narrow hem, either one. But I could picture this over a more sleeveless garment, which is the Gardenia. Now here it is as a top, and you can see it's semi-sleeveless. This does extend beyond the shoulder line a little bit. It does have this pleat in the front that's actually sewn down, and then the ties bring this side over and it ties here, and there are like 3 pleats across here. But even something like this looks good under a jacket. So you get a little pop of color or texture or whatever, changes the look. Or you can put it over a dress. The Gardenia also is available as a dress with 2 different sleeve options. This is one sleeve option, and the sleeveless is the other sleeve option. So you can put a short jacket over a dress. I see that a lot. So it doesn't really matter what the length is. The jacket works over a dress, over a top. The dress can be much longer. There would be people who would take this dress not to the floor, but ankle length, and it looks great. You might want a more neutral one that you can throw on over anything, carry it with you. I have a friend, it doesn't matter the season, whether it's miserably cold or miserably hot, always has a jacket in her car, and she throws it over her arm and takes it into the restaurant where we're going to eat. And that's her way of dressing. I've never seen her without a jacket somewhere. Now, this one has the rolled hem as well. I don't know why I didn't do rolled hem on this one. Maybe this was the first one I made. I don't know, I don't remember. So I'm picturing, I had to think about this a minute, but I decided that I really loved a sterling jacket in this embroidered eyelet. I'll bring this closer later, but this is a fairly lightweight cotton. I believe it's cotton. Let me check. Yeah, all cotton. It is an eyelet, but there are embroidered leaf and flower motifs all over it. It's a fantastic fabric. And I think that'd make a great sterling jacket to wear over anything, absolutely anything. So think about that. Another jacket that I particularly like is a variation of the Crossroads. Now, the Crossroads shirt normally has these horizontal panels. There are about 4 of them. And there's a pocket in one of the seams of the panels. And the collar is either tapered at one end and not tapered at the other end, or as was done in this one, has the tapered portion of the collar at both ends. This is the same fabric that I have on. It's a waffle weave. Unfortunately, we don't have any waffle weave at the moment. It's a really popular fabric for us, and we need to think about getting some more. But this could be lined, underlined. This one has neither. And again, it's just one of those throw-on pieces. And you can throw it on with a linen pant. This is the plaza pants. One of the reasons I like the plaza pants is you don't have to worry about matching the motif at the side seams because there isn't one. So you can simply figure out what you want in the main area, and you can see that the motifs do kind of sort of match in that they come out from the same type of motif. But this is a handkerchief linen, and I think you can wear this year round. Now, because it's tissue weight, I line them in a mesh. This is like what you buy for ballerinas. But you could line it in organza, georgette, regular lining, Bemberg lining. You could another lightweight linen, another lightweight tissue weight linen. Doesn't matter, but I felt like I just didn't want as much show through for this particular fabric. Now, one of the nice things you can do with your linings is pretty much what we did on the sterling. You can finish it with a serge edge instead of hemming it. And you can sew up the seams with a serge edge, serge seam. So this is a 3-thread stitch formation as a seam and the finishing, which makes this whole lined pant pretty quick project. So if you've got some fabulous fabric that you really don't know what to do with, think about pants. I mean, we were always thinking prints on the top, but we're seeing some printed bottoms. And Brianna, who models for us and works here occasionally, showed us some Hollywood pants the other day in a print, and they were fabulous. So, and it was pretty wild. They were very wild. The Valencia. What did I say? Plaza pants a minute ago. I feel like I did. These are Valencia pants, which don't have the side seam. There's no cheating on this pattern. It's not excessive in width. So you want to measure yourself and measure the pattern and make sure you've got 3 or 4 or 5 inches of ease. To make a lined pant, you're simply making 2 pairs of pants, one that's linen and one that's lining. And then you put them together at the waist, baste them together around the top, and apply the waistband, and you're done. So there's nothing particularly magical about that. Put a little jacket with those pants, you've got a nice transitional piece. Now, I brought out this linen, which is also lightweight, and I think would make a fantastic pair of pants. The colors in it are amazing. All those reds and ruby reds and oranges. It's fabulous. And we talked about pieced things. I know a lot of you have lots of fabric in your stash, maybe not enough to do a total garment, but this is a peony vest. And a vest as a third piece is a great transitional garment. It's not a jacket, so it's not particularly hot. You can wear it over sleeveless or something that has a short sleeve like this Eureka top. And you can just go for it, you know. I was looking at this wall thinking, well, this whole thing would make a great vest. So everybody should buy a yard of every one of these. But the fabric that is interesting is the one that is this Eureka top. This is a linen knit. I first got onto linen knits through Eileen Fisher. I'll never forget this. I walked into an Eileen Fisher store in Florida, Winter Park, Florida, one time this years ago, and they had introduced this fabric. It was new, and they were selling T-shirts for several $100s, not several, a few $100s, and they were all off grain. I mean, they weren't on the bias, they weren't on the straight, they were just kind of in between, and the back didn't match the front and all that. So I went up to the sales gal and I said, "Do you have any of these T-shirts that are actually cut on the grain where you can't see that the grain is off?" She says, "No, they're all like that." I went, "Okay, I can do better than that." So we do have some of this fabric. This is a pale blue, baby blue, which I think is beautiful. You really see the grain and texture of this fabric. It is somewhat sheer, not terribly. Like for a top like this that's loose, I wouldn't bother to line or underline. This is not quite the same, but boy, it has the feel for it. It's a little bit heavier. This is hemp and cotton. It has a very casual texture to it, and the color is, of course, amazing. And you can see that that's a jersey because it's already curling on the cross grain and it's curling to the right side. So that tells you, of course, which side to have up when you cut. I have these Picasso pants in the blue. I have them in black. I'm going to make them in green or yellow or both. We have both. But it's the perfect fabric for travel. I have taken those pants on my painting workshops to Mexico, to Europe, and I never have to press them. I wash them. It gets a little bit crinkly. I can either steam that out or not, but the fabric doesn't change. It's always this crinkle. And if I don't know if you can see it or not, maybe not, but there are some vertical sort of tucks in the weave that change this. I wonder if the other side shows it more. Maybe, not really. Anyway, there's a texture to the texture. It's a gingham, but the gingham has been shrunk, should I call it, kind of like seersucker, in various places, and it creates a very interesting texture. But it also creates a fabric that's just no care whatsoever. So we've got 3 or 4 colors of this: blue and yellow and green, and I think we have one other color. And it is the last of it. We've ordered it a couple of times. It comes from Belgium. The manufacturer has gone out of business, and we bought up what they had left. So we don't see it. We won't see it again. But to put these kinds of textures together, where you have the linen knit, some interesting piecing with this sort of pant. Now, one of the things that we've added to this pattern, which is great, is a pocket. And when you order this pattern as a digital pattern, or do they get it with a printed pattern also?
Just the digital.
Okay.
No, it comes with both.
Comes with both.
Okay. Okay. So we have a pocket template piece, pattern piece, that you get when you order this pant, and it comes digitally. It's been a little confusing to people because they say, oh my gosh, I got a digital Picasso pant when I meant to get it printed. Deb, do we have any more printed? Or are we out? We still have printed Picassos and digital, and you get the pocket template with both. So if you go into your account and you see that it says Picasso, that's the pocket template. And don't get confused that you think that we sent you the digital pattern. Okay. Anyway, because this doesn't have a true side seam, it has a side panel, then I put the pocket in this seam right here. And that template you will get if you buy the pattern. A couple of other possibilities for transitional pieces. This is a linen splice. And the reason, I think I was the one who named it maybe, because these side pieces, insertions, reminded me of splices. You splice the pattern and insert something. And it's a different length than the length of the garment. It has somewhat of a boat, more open neckline. If you don't like that, you can change it. You know, you can use another pattern and just trace a new neckline on it. 3/4 length sleeves, those can be shortened, they can be lengthened. This is a linen. Again, I like it in this print, and you could insert any of these colors of crinkled, I better, before I say what I was going to say, yeah, linen, crinkled linen. You could make the whole garment out of that, a crinkled linen, or these could be your splices. Now, this is spectacular. This is a very lightweight pin whale corduroy. You don't know it's corduroy until you're just upon it. But I mean, that is a blast of fabulous color and texture, and would make the perfect sterling jacket. It would make the perfect Crossroads jacket. But I also think it would make something like this. A little heavier weight, particularly if you lengthen the sleeve, made it look a little more wintry, but it's still very drapey. But it's amazing. It's one of those pieces that it's made in Italy. No designer on it. It's all cotton, but amazing. Now, if you made a splice with it, put the splices in this with it. This is a very small two-tone green, small print. So think about the splice. I don't know if Betsy's done this or not, but I know that people have talked about making this into a dress. Have you done this, Betsy? You've just talked about it.
I made it out of that when we had silk velvet. I have a silk velvet splice dress.
Oh, yeah.
But then our friend Jan, and it's short, it's like knee length. Jan did the long linen dress, which was really beautiful.
Oh, well, here's another one. Here's a dress in a Liberty of London fabric, full-length dress in a print. I think we have this fabric, by the way. And I think we have the yellow fabric. Erin made this. I think she scooped out the neck a little bit more, made a tie to go with it to cinch it. And looks to me like the sleeves have been shortened. But you can see that it's the full dress. Yeah, she's bringing the fabrics over here. This is from the Liberty of London Bridgerton series. At least this one, probably not the other one. And we've talked about Liberty of London being this cotton lawn that's so spectacular, that's so smooth. It was manufactured to be silk-like, artificial silk, they called it. And then Erin combined it with this, which is the yellow and then pink, smaller design. Pretty cool. Another garment that I think is worthy of transition is the San Diego Tunic. Now, we got this idea from Samantha. She took the San Diego, I don't know whether it was the top or the jacket or whatever, and turned it into a dress. So we kind of turned it into a tunic, but it could be a dress. Alex has it on in the linen, more solid linen. But this is the length of the sleeve. This is the collar that can also be buttoned up if you want a little more coverage, something like that. But it is sewn down here, and this is not open. This is closed. But this looks great. This happened to be a border print. So if you have, border prints, you have to think about, what do I do with them? Where do I place it? In this case, it was at the bottom. Isn't that pretty? So Alex was the first one, I think, who maybe made it even before I don't know if we had the pattern out. It doesn't matter, but so I think I've gone through pretty much all the fabrics as well. There was one garment, I think it's a Gardenia. That has some ties. I want to talk about that a minute. These skinny ties. The best and only way, in my opinion, to get ties that skinny or to just turn ties, period, any width, is to use a ballpoint bodkin. Now, I had one of these. I've had one of these since grade school. I did not know what it was until a few years ago. If you don't own this, buy it. It's inexpensive, and you'll be glad. I own every other kind of tube turner that was ever invented. This is the only one I use. So it has an eye. Let me get it where you can see it there. Okay, so it has an eye at one end and a ball at the other end. So once you fold over a piece of fabric with the wrong sides together, you trim the seam so it's pretty skinny, about 1/8 of an inch. And then you put the ball into the tube and sew the eye to the end. Or you can pin it. I always sew it, it's just a little more secure. And then you start to take that down the tube, and of course it ruffles up and you begin to pull it. You can go endless. That's the thing about this. Some of the tube turners that I own have sort of a limit as to how long you can turn a tube. This you can go for miles. So ballpoint bodkin, be sure and own one. Okay, any questions, Alex?
There is a question about your cat Bruce.
My cat?
Yes.
Well, this was on the garment, and the girls around here think that Kathy Davis gave it to me. I don't know if Kathy's on the call or not. So I'm not sure, but it does have fur and dimension, and it's very cool. So I just kept it on there. But I need to take it off and wear it with other things.
So on your sterling jacket that you're wearing, you mentioned that you didn't do a rolled hem. So
Right.
how is it finished?
It's finished with the narrowest of regular serging that my serger will do. Let's see if we can get that. There we go. Can you see that? I mean, I've just narrowed down the stitch width as much as I can and closed it up a little bit. Just made some adjustments on my serger, but didn't try to roll it. Maybe this waffle weave didn't want to roll. That's a possibility. I don't remember when I made it, whether I was having trouble. You know, I always make samples, test samples.
On the Crossroads jacket,
Mm-hmm.
did you put 2 or 3 panels together to get the jacket with no panels?
I'd have to look. I know there's a panel here. I put 3 together. I think I'm missing the 4th. You know, I just overlap the pattern pieces 1.25 inches as if I've sewn 2 5/8 inch seams. It was super easy.
You're a little blurry, so I'm going to switch to me for a minute.
Okay.
Can we see the green cotton slub fabric up close?
Yes. Of course, this is the biggest roll. You would ask me that. There you can see a little bit of texture change, those vertical stripes.
Teresa Daniels gave you the cat.
Oh, Teresa, thank you for saying that. I know, isn't it cute?
What is the fabric the tunic is made in called? The San Diego Tunic. We don't have that fabric anymore, but
No, it's a cotton. I think it's a cotton sateen, actually. So I don't know what it's called. It has a very, very slight sateen finish to it, not much. But it's quilt cotton weight.
How do you feel about making muslins?
I have not made a muslin in 40 years, maybe. But I have a different situation than a lot of people. First of all, I make the same patterns over and over and over, and only from the sewing workshop. And so once I get the first garment made, I can then make some adjustments if I need to. I don't usually have to make very many adjustments. I do a round back adjustment quite a bit. I generally don't have to narrow the shoulders. I might make length and shorten adjustments. But I pretty much know what size I am throughout the whole collection. I also have the advantage of, if it doesn't work, I put it on the rack and people can try it on. So I think muslin is a hard transition. I fit muslins here when people come for Sew Kansas. And we can get a muslin to you can study certain things about a muslin. You know, where the shoulder seam fits, where that goes around you, of course. But I find my really good example is I made the second inaugural gown for Kathleen Sebelius, governor of Kansas. And I made the first garment for her, and I had access to her quite a bit. The second round, I didn't have quite the same access, so I was fitting a muslin first, then I fit a dress form, and then I fit her with the dress. That muslin that I had fitting exactly to her didn't really fit her in the end. And I can't tell you why. They were not the same fabric, of course. The final dress was in silk taffeta, but there should have been, but it was a woven and it was about the same weight. And to me, it should have been a better fit. So I don't know. Muslins can teach you some things about yourself. I remember going to San Francisco and taking a moulage class, and the fabric that was used was a 1-inch square gingham. So you could study the lines of how things fell and if side seams were where they should be and all that. And I learned some things about myself. I learned that my neck is a little bit forward thrust, that I am a little bit longer waisted than normal. So you learn some things about you, but I don't know that you can depend on a muslin to be the end all at the very end. It still requires some fitting. I do a lot of basting together of things and get them tried on. I think that's probably more useful. I do a lot of pre-measuring on me and the garment. I do have a dress form at home. I hang things on it just to kind of see proportion, length, and all of that. But muslins, no, I don't make them.
Okay, I think that is all.
Okay, I think I went through all the fabrics. Oh, I wanted to get this eyelet down so that you can really see what's going on, because I'm crazy about this. And we saw the spring lines of a couple of manufacturers recently, and eyelets were all over the place. And for the longest time, we didn't see them. Isn't that pretty? All cotton. And then the other one that didn't show up real well was this small print. Which I think could be a total garment or a filler like the splices or trims. So it's a tone-on-tone stripe with the print on top of that. Make a great shirt.
Awesome. Well, let me see if there are any more that are coming through. What fabric is the Gardenia colorful dress made from?
Linen. That's all linen.
All right.
Okay, well,
I can share my screen and go through the sale. So if you go to our website, click on this sale icon in the top right at the header, then that's our weekly sale. Obviously, we update it every week, every Tuesday. So here is our sterling sale, and we have the patterns featured first. And just to shout out too, we have the Gardenia dress and blouse online workshop. So this is a great option if you want to see in video format how to construct and work through the Gardenia pattern. So shout out to our video online workshop. The Plaza jacket and pants is available. The Peony, San Diego, Splice. We also have our Sterling Jacket So Confident online workshop, which shows Linda again working through the Sterling. And so you can see that in video format. And then followed by the patterns, we have our fabrics. So you can shop everything for your transitional season sewing if you want to get going. That is our sale this week. And I do just want to mention also, it is January 27th, and on February 1st, we are launching our newest So Confident pattern. So if you want to join So Confident, you still can. It is $35 a month as a Savvy member. You can join this month for $35 and still get access to the on-day jacket, which is our pattern for January. And you get access to our project launch, our live Zoom Q&A, those recordings, as well as all of the content and resources for the education this month. So you can still join in January, get everything for January, and then join us in February. February is all about the urban. So we have first the urban t-shirt coming up, and then followed by that is the urban pant. So February 1st, you guys get your urban pattern. It actually includes both the pant and the top. So that is what's coming soon. But don't forget, you still can join either as a Savvy member at $35 a month or an Elite member, our annual membership. So let me see if there's anything else. Someone's asking how they would use the eyelet. I was thinking about, we have a more of a burnout leather, faux leather version of the Brando, I think. And that's very cool. It's black. That would be an awesome way to use the eyelet. Linda, you've made the Charlie bomber in kind of a summery version. So a zip up jacket would be fantastic with the eyelet. I'm kind of going in the same direction as a jacket. The Quincy would be fun. But if you're not doing a jacket, we've made the Bristol with a cutout white. Although the Bristol, you probably need a knit for the body, but you could use the eyelet throughout. I have made a San Diego with knit and woven combination. The sleeves were, the sleeves were knit and the body was woven. So it'd be fun to use the eyelet and like blend it with a solid white knit for sleeves, for the collar, for something contrasting. So those are some thoughts.
we're going to show you the Brando this is not an eyelet, but it is a burnout kind of similar idea. You know, you could underline the eyelet or not. If you're making a jacket, and I think the Sterling jacket would be perfect in that fabric. I wouldn't do anything to the fabric except sew it up and have a see-through sort of garment. But you could underline it in either white or a color. And maybe you're going to make the splice. Well, you do the central part of it underlined or lined, and then the splices may be in something else, and the sleeves not underlined, so you get two different textures, two different looks. Yeah, here's the, if you use the eyelet for the body, I think you could do that and then combine it with a white knit for the yoke and the sleeves. That would work for a top.
Again, I'm wearing the San Diego Tunic. So there in the San Diego pattern, you have 3 patterns in one. It's San Diego Tunic, San Diego Shirt, and San Diego Jacket. So this is the tunic, which is longer. It has an asymmetrical hem. So that's what I'm wearing, just in a wonderful kind of cross-dyed linen. And Linda, can you share a quick tip on where you place the contesting needles when sewing the neckband on a t-shirt on the cover stitch machine?
Okay, so I sew the band to the garment on my sewing machine at 5/8 of an inch. Then I 3-thread serge those, it would be 3 raw edges together. And then I shift to my cover stitch machine, and I do want to show you this actually. It was 3-thread, but 2 rows of straight stitching on the right side, and you get the connecting stitch on the wrong side. And I place, I rarely use a wide cover stitch. So I use a narrow setting, and I'm about as far away from the seam with the the right stitch line as I am the width of the 2 stitches. Let me go find something and show you. Hold on. There. So I'm not jammed right up to the well of this seam. I'm 1/8 of an inch away from that. Now, the idea of a cover stitch is that you cover the seam allowance on the wrong side. But I'm not good enough to catch that seam, the edge of this seam. So I go ahead and 3-thread serge this seam on the inside. And then the cover stitch is almost decorative rather than holding anything together.
We have a great tutorial that's $10 called Cover Stitch Online Workshop with Linda Lee. And it's a video resource where Linda talks through all of her tips and tricks for mastering the art of cover stitching.
I use it all the time now on hems, sleeve hems, bottom hems, and necklines. I'm sure there's a lot of other places I could use it, but those tend to be the ones. And I use it mostly on knits, but you can certainly use it on wovens.
For a So Confident question, someone's asking about the date for the February meetup. If you're an elite member, then in your course page, you'll see all of the dates for all of the Zoom sessions, so you can check that out. And then if you're a Savvy member or a Basic member, you will see that come available February 1st. So elite members, check your course page. All the dates are in there. Savvy and Basic members, your dates are updated every month. All right. Well, thanks, Spring, everyone. Thanks for joining us. and we will see you next week.